Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to do a cool video today about the difference of some of the elements of photography. Those things include aperture, shutter speed, ISO, and of course focus. So I have staggered some stuff here just to get an example, and I got a camera set up over there. And I'm going to take some pictures and show you guys the difference of what does what. Now that we're in post-production here, let's go into Lightroom here. Hey, look, it's me. So these are some of the pictures I took while we were outside there, and I want to go through them quickly here. And the thing I wanted to talk mostly with these sets of pictures was the aperture setting, which is going to give you the depth of field control. This was taken with an f1.4. It's a small number, but it means that the glass is wide open. And as you can see here, we're focused on Garuda, and Predator is a little out of focus there. The Gargoyle, similar focus, and as you can see, the microphone is very out of focus, and the background is unrecognizable. Now, because there actually was too much light on this, what I can do is just knock down the exposure, contrast, and it would look kind of normal. So, but that's not important in the step of what we're talking about. Let's move up to the next picture, which was also f1.4, but I changed the focus from the microphone, from Garuda to the microphone, and you can see how blurry. I guess we'll leave it at that definition for now. And now we're going to go over to a 3.2 aperture, and I did have to change the speed a little bit, as you can see. Oh no, I'm at 1600, whereas before I was all the way up at 4,000th of a second. So that's the balance you have to play in the manual settings between the aperture and speed. The smaller the aperture, the less light that comes in and hits the sensor. The bigger aperture, the more light. So the light meter inside the camera, they're all digital now, would give you an indication where you need to go, and that'll be a different lesson. But for right now, I just wanted to talk about the different aperture. Now, we were outside on a nice sunny day, and as you can see, the real hard shadows. Generally, that's not very good for taking pictures, portraits and things like that. But that's kind of more of a in-depth lesson. This is also 3.2 here, and you can see the focus is on the background. Everything in the foreground is out of focus. Also 3.2, just some focus changes. So now we jump to a 5.6 here. There's also ISO I talked about before. All these shots were taken with ISO 100, and on my particular camera, that's the best ISO, the better. We'll talk about ISO in a little while. Also, you notice my time changes with my aperture setting. Like I said, that's a balance back and forth. Now you can see on this aperture of 5.6, basically everything is in focus. Not the background, but the whole table, everything on the table. And and as we go up to f22, you can see basically the background and everything on the table's in focus. But as you can see here, we were at a 1/30th of a second. And now you're saying to yourself, what's wrong with that? 1/30th of a second, that's not bad. Now, as you notice, I said before, I'm outside in the really bright sun. And you don't always have that much light when you're taking pictures. And the really bright sun also makes harsh shadows. Yeah, they can be fixed in post and things like that. Yeah, but then you see the background's all blown out once we kind of tweak him up a little bit. So let's talk about speed. Say, well, we don't really care what the depth of field is. Let's look specifically at speed. And I did this a little backwards when I took part of it. I have a little remote in my hand where I can, and I was adjusting the camera angle here because I'm by myself. Now here we're at 1/30th of a second, f22. And still, once again, I'm at ISO 100. And 1/30th is not really great for catching motion. As you can see, I'm kind of blurry here. So let's see what my next shot here is. Now I'm standing still, but not doing anything. And this was at f1.4. And you can see this isn't even that far away, and that's out of focus. And of course, all the background is lost, intelligible. I think here I was waving my arm. I know I was waving my arm, and it's dead solid. You know, you can even see the hairs on my arm. Let's just move along here. Here's a 3.5 at 1/1000th. The previous was 1/4000th. This is 1/1000th. And my arm is, I know I was waving back and forth. You see my fingers a little bit there. So that could be a little loss of focus, even though it's probably not. It's probably the motion. Obviously, the length of my arm. It's moving fastest at the fingertips and slowest at my shoulder. I don't need to tell you guys that. The next one here, we got 1/250th of a second. So there you can see that motion right there. And this is an aperture 7.1. So I'm gonna start to get some more focus back here. So once again, I was not limited with the amount of light I had because I was outside. And you see at 14th, 1/60th of a second. This is obvious. So, if somebody's swinging a baseball bat or jumping in a pool or any of that kind of stuff, obviously you're going to want that higher speed, and it's a balancing game. Let's talk about ISO, and I'm definitely not on the right picture for here because I'm using ISO 100. The lower the ISO, the better quality of the picture. It's kind of like film speed. If you have a high ISO, you can see a lot of artificially created grain. And I'm not sure I like ISO 100 because I know I can fix a lot of the exposure issues and contrast issues because I'm in RAW. So you can see there, this was taken at 1/8 of a second because I'm inside. And all right, let's look at this guy here. This was a long exposure shot. This was 25 seconds, ISO 800. This is Lake Illinois here. And let's see what we got. This rendering. All right, you see all that grain there? That's not because of the. It's not because of the 25 seconds. That's because of the ISO there. Now I made a lot of adjustments, I think, on this, but no, didn't. This had like a weird sulfur light behind me, like a parking light lamp. And as you can see, when the focus isn't easy to catch because it's so dark, it's not always in focus. And that's obviously a shadow of me standing there next to the tripod. Let's see some other. There's an ISO 2500. Okay, this was a car driving by. As you can see in the black sky there, all that noise there. Those are not stars. That is noise. So. Now, when you have a high ISO, you're essentially making the aperture, pretending that you're letting more light in. You're making the sensor more sensitive, so that you can have a shorter shutter speed. So this was still at 30 seconds. This was a 7mm lens, f8. So, live using f. Oh, the reason, like in a shot like this, to use a bigger aperture is to have more things in focus. These are actually power lines here that I actually couldn't see when I was taking the picture, but after the background illuminated a bit there, I was able to see it. And of course, a car happened to drive by, and I saw the taillights. All right, guys, thanks for checking out another episode of my stuff, and keep looking for more stuff to come. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks again. Bye.